Mike McCarthy just did something that every single Raiders fan needs to know about, which is exactly why you should subscribe to the Raiders Report. I'm not that normal Raider fan, and I don't think people that watch this show are that normal Raider fan. And following rumors is very important to be able to paint an entire picture. But if you haven't seen what Mike McCarthy just did, because I think he's trying to maybe get the Raiders' attention. No matter what, you need to hear about what I got coming up here on today's show. And if you like today's show, a lot more content coming out like this. Is Mike McCarthy trying to become the next Raiders head coach? I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, I'm going to tell you what Mike McCarthy literally just did and why the Dallas Cowboys moving on from McCarthy is good and bad for the silver and black. Now, for those of you that do not know what ended up happening here around McCarthy, around everything going on, the Dallas Cowboys decided to move on from him bright and early this morning, and they had a contract that, was kind of slowing down a little bit, didn't know exactly where it was going to be able to go, and multiple NFL teams have put out a request for McCarthy. I'm talking about the Bears, the Saints, and those are going to be two teams that are going to be interested. The reason, though, why you guys should click on this video and the reason why I am wondering, is McCarthy trying to get Tom Brady's attention? Is he trying to get the Raiders' attention? Because usually when a player or a coach or anybody in general changes agents, there's a reason behind it. And Mike McCarthy just changed his agent, hiring Don Yee ahead of his hiring cycle, knowing a complicated situation was ahead. And it's been complicated for sure, so the Cowboys move forward, and so does McCarthy. There have been rumblings he could land in New Orleans for weeks now. So the New Orleans Saints is going to be a team to talk about. So, Mitch, why the hell should I care that Mike McCarthy just hired Don Yee? The most famous client of Don Yee, literally the only guy, and the reason why Tom Brady and Yee are so close is because Brady was the 199th pick of an NFL draft. Don Yee gave him a shot, and now Brady, one of the most important, influential people in his business side of his decision-making is Don Yee, who now is the same agent as Mike McCarthy. Here's a quote that Brady said on Yee, not recently, but it's in the past. He's always been focused on football. When I got out of college and was looking for someone to represent me, there were a lot of options. He was someone that really had the same goal where I could find the right spot and my career could flourish. Whatever your personal goals were, he would support that. He wasn't interested necessarily in the goals of what an agent may be, but what your goals may be. My goal has always been winning, and he's tried to support that in the best way he could, and that's why I have so much respect for him. So let me know down below, would you want the Raiders to hire Mike McCarthy? Give me a yes, give me a no. My answer is going to be coming up after this YouTube ad break. I love the move of McCarthy hiring Yee. I think it's a really smart move, and I do think that the Raiders could potentially be interested because of one of the reasons why they hired Jed Hughes was to kind of get all that continuity, to kind of be able to bring in somebody that thinks the exact same way as Tom Brady. The fact that Don Yee hired McCarthy, I bet you Tom Brady's going to go, well, I bet you that they're thinking the exact same way. But here's real talk. The Raiders, if they want Ben Johnson, I think it need to be like, I don't know if we're interested in Mike McCarthy. And I say that because if you know that you're all in on somebody, well then damn it, go all in on somebody. And I'm all in on Ben Johnson, and for that reason, I am not interested in Mike McCarthy. Coming up here on the show, let's talk about why the Dallas Cowboys moving on from their head coach is good and bad, and why all Raider fans need to see this. I'll also say I will start with the bad news, and then I'll finish the show of why it's good. I don't know about y'all, but all this Raiders head coaching news and rumors, it makes me sweat. I care so much about getting Ben Johnson on this football team that it's starting to keep me up a little bit at night. But luckily, I think I smell pretty darn good. Shout out to our sponsor here, Mando, and I love Mando, because you can control body odor wear anywhere with Mando. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates over 40% off your starter pack. Use code chat at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. New year, new me. Honestly, I feel like I got that new car smell. Hell, maybe like a new person smell. thanks to Mando's whole body deodorant. Mando controls odor for 72 hours. It's clinically proven. Clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. 12 hours after a shower, the average man's Grundle odor level was a 5 out of 10. With Mando, the average Grundle odor level was a 0 out of 10. I'll just let you guess how we know that. I like using Mando because I sweat literally all the time, and because it's a full body deodorant, I can take it with me on the go. I can use it on my pits, package, Grundle, balls, as we've already mentioned, the belly button, the butt crack, stinky crevices, stomach folds, and feet. Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice. Think of it as like mini body wash and deodorant wipes and free shipping. And as a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates over 40% off your starter pack. So use code chat at shopmando.com. Please support the show. Tell them that we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. All right, so coming up here, let's talk about this news here around Mike McCarthy and why it is good and why it is bad for Raiders fans. And I don't always want people to see news of, yes, I know the Cowboys moved on from Mike McCarthy. You as a fan shouldn't only think, oh, that's only Cowboys news. Because as soon as he hired Don Yee, that's where you got to go, okay, now this could potentially be Raiders news, which is what I'm trying to do on this show. And if you like that type of content, again, make sure you're subscribed. So the first reason why I think that the Cowboys moving on from McCarthy is bad is, the Dallas Cowboys could steal away Ben Johnson. Now, I will say this update just came in, and I think it's very important around this topic, and it's from Jordan Schultz, and it says, because the Cowboys waited a week to move on from McCarthy, Jerry Jones also missed the window to request interviews with candidates on a bye, like Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson and defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn. So if Dallas wants to talk to them, they're going to have to wait until Detroit loses. If I'm Ben Johnson, I think that if you are actually interested in that Cowboys job, well, then you could look at waiting, because even if the Raiders want to hire Johnson, you have to wait until after the Detroit Lions end up losing or end up winning the Super Bowl. Let's go to number 2. Deion could go to Dallas and take Shedeur. The only way Deion Sanders is going to take a head coaching job, he's already said it, if he can coach his sons. Deion said he was very interested in the Raiders job on Saturday. On Sunday, the Raiders said, we're not interested in you. On Monday, Cowboys decide to part ways with McCarthy. There's no doubt about it. Jerry Jones loves money. Deion knows that he could get money. And if you're someone going, well, Mitch, how the heck can Shedeur fall all the way to 12? It's not about falling. It's about him pulling an Eli Manning and Deion going to get Shedeur, which I do think could add a little bit of a wrinkle in the Raiders' plan to get Ben Johnson and the Raiders' plan in general at finding a quarterback. Let's go to number 3. And this one is bad news because the Raiders could end up hiring McCarthy over Ben Johnson because of the addition there of Don Yee for Mike. Let's face it, I think McCarthy's a good head coach. I think he's a top 32 head coach in the NFL. I don't think that there's 32 other guys that are better than him. And I said it on the last video that I did. It kind of reminds me of the whole Mike Vrabel situation of he's going to get another job sooner rather than later. He's going to get a job again in the NFL. And even though he's a good coach, I still would take Ben Johnson over Mike McCarthy, which does scare me just a little bit. So coming up here then, why it could be good for the Silver and Black. And the reason why that I think it could be good for the Raiders is because you could see another team that's interested in Johnson now want to go out and hire Mike McCarthy. Remember when the Patriots fired Gerard Mayo, how quickly that process and that ball started rolling there? It's because they already had somebody in mind. The moment the Cowboys decided to move on from McCarthy, the Chicago Bears put in a request. The Saints haven't yet, but it is expected that they are going to put in a request. Right now, when I talk to a lot of the people around the Bears that cover that team here at Chat Sports, when I go, who do you think's the top head coach candidate for Chicago? They were saying Ben Johnson. We've been saying Ben Johnson, too. They already have Caleb Williams. Now, if Johnson wants to be able to pick his own GM, he could be the head coach. He can work with Tom Brady. But I'm telling you this, if Chicago goes out and hires Mike McCarthy, I think that is a clear path for Ben Johnson to come to the Raiders. In fact, I think Johnson going to the Bears is more likely than Johnson going to the Cowboys, because I don't think that he wants to work with Jerry Jones. So in conclusion here, McCarthy hiring Don Yee is interesting, But honestly, hopefully, it doesn't mean anything. And I wanted to make this video because I was expecting that there was going to be Raider fans out there that were going to ask me about McCarthy anyway. And then the fact that he hired the same agent as Tom Brady, I'm that Raider fan where if I see something like that, I go, I bet you other people have that exact same thought. If the Raiders miss on Johnson, then I do think Mike McCarthy could be an option, but only if you miss on BJ. And the Cowboys job opening does make this a very interesting next few weeks. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure those notifications are on. I'm going to be live here tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern time on the Raiders Report. I'm also planning on going live on Saturday for both of those playoff games, still a little bit TBD. And then Jugs and I will be live for the college football playoff. That is a lot to be able to digest. And also, we put up more content out on social media as well. At Mitchell Renz 365 is Mike McCarthy trying to be the next Raiders head coach by hiring Don Yee? I don't think so. I think he just respects Don Yee's opinion, and hopefully the Raiders just keep their main thing on the main thing. How about that? The main thing is BJ.